Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am here today with a very special guest, one that doesn't just ruffle feathers, she strips them bare. Heidi Anderson is the ex-radio queen who walked away from the mic, launched a confidence revolution, and literally strutted through a shopping centre in her underwear to prove a fucking point. She's been branded too much, too loud, too raw, and she owns every damn inch of it. From quitting the boys' club to publicly sharing her ADHD diagnosis, Heidi does not play it safe. Welcome to the podcast, Heidi.
Oh, can I get you to write all my intros?
Yeah.
I love that. I'm like, who is that person?
That's you.
I love how you put it together.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. I was going to say I might take my clothes off today, but then I realised I've got my period undies, so no one wants to see that.
Well, do they? You never know, babe. So before we dive into some of the questions that I've written, because they are a little bit thought-provoking today, we're going all in. I know that you'll go there, so let's bring it to the fucking show.
Yes.
Tell my audience, for those that don't know you, for those that haven't heard of you, who is Heidi? What does she do? What does she bring forward?
Where the fuck have you been? You're only just finding me. No, but really, I think the thing is, that's what's cool about 2025, don't you reckon? You find people online and you're like, how did I not know who they were? How have I never met them before? Because we've only just come into each other's lives.
I know.
But who am I? I am a wife, a mum, a author, a keynote speaker. I was a radio host here in Perth, so I had a career here for 10 years. I just spoke to my old radio boss on the way in, actually, and telling him about a new podcast idea that I have.
You know, I remember you in Newcastle.
I
remember because my mum was a loyal listener. So I remember, and
on NXFM with Heidi, Heath and Normie.
Yes, absolutely, because mum was just, because when was it Steve and Kim there?
Yes.
Yonks, it was like a long time ago, but then mum just stayed loyal to NXFM.
Yeah.
Mum was just like,
it was the biggest thing to happen in Newcastle, and they were an amazing show, and then Heath and Normie got pulled in. So this was in 2013 you're referring to. And so for me, I was working in Bunbury, and this is like, you know, small town in Western Australia, but we had a really awesome network show, and this was a big break for me, and they called me up and they said, Heath and Normie, they need a female. We've blown up a show that was so huge. And, you know, it was the history of Newcastle. And now these boys, the listeners aren't vibing. They need a strong female lead. And so I got the call up, and it changed my whole career path. Like within 2 years, that was all, like my career in Bunbury. That was all I wanted when I got into breakfast radio. And then to be home on the East Coast, it was so huge. But I lasted 3 months there, because then the producers of Big Brother came in to NXFM, and we interviewed them, and they were doing auditions that day. And I was like, well, guys, you missed your chance, because I said, I've just tried out for 10 years and you've rejected me every single year, and now I've got my dream job, and so screw you, I'm never trying out again. And I was real cheeky on air, and I'm like, you missed your chance. Anyway, we turned the mics off, and they said, can you come and see us today? And I said, no chance. And the guy who I just spoke to, the boss that I just spoke to that I called, I had to call him and say, Big Brother want me to go in the house, because I went down, I ended up going auditioning, and then I thought, oh my God, my boss will never let me. I've just got here. And so then it was 3 months in, and my boss was like, get in the house. It's the greatest PR thing you'll ever do. And I was one of the first radio hosts to ever go on reality TV that had already had the job. You know, a lot of people got their jobs after. So I came out, and I knew that I wasn't going back to Newcastle, which was sad, because I'd just been there like 3 or 4 months, whatever it was. And I knew that I was coming to Perth, but I wasn't allowed to tell anyone when I was in the house. So I had to pretend like that I was going back to Newcastle.
Got it.
So it was huge. It was like Newcastle. So the fact that you like that, to me, is like a huge part of my, life. Like,
and
huge
it
stuff
didn't
happened
feel like
there.
it was that short.
It was so short, but I think because we made the most of it, like the radio station, we had a huge like eviction party when I got kicked out of Big Brother.
Maybe
was,
so.
Like
And
100 people were at the pub. You know, like it was real listener based.
Yes.
They obviously got around me on the show when Sophie was filling in for me, and then she became the host there as well. So tell your mum I said hi.
No, it's just your voice. Like,
Yeah.
I thought I didn't. Like, obviously you and I have connected, and you've been doing a lot of work with me for a little while, which has been amazing, as you know. Love you. But I thought that's how I knew you, and I knew that you'd done it. I'm like, oh, maybe I just think that I do know her.
Yeah.
But like, and then I'm like, no, her fucking voice. I know the voice. I know the shit
And the laugh.
Like,
everyone-
yes, I just remember. Anyway, that's pretty cool.
Oh,
I think that's cool.
that. Yeah, we'll say, because like I said, Newcastle is such a favourite place of mine because so much stuff happened there. So yeah, lots of beautiful memories. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, I love that your mum listened.
Look, she still does. She probably still does listen to the radio,
bless.
bless her soul.
Yeah.
Although it's probably her only time that she gets like silence in the day. So she's probably just like, fuck, turn the
yeah,
radio
Heidi's
off these
gone
days.
now.
Yeah, Heidi's gone, stop listening. Okay, so let's dive in.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that I want to speak to you about, which is a pretty hard-hitting question here, but what part of your identity did you feel like you might have had to kill off when you left commercial radio? Oh. And have you experienced her ever trying to like fucking come through?
I got goosebumps because I literally just spoke. That's so weird that I rang my old boss just before I came here.
When you said that, I was
well,
like,
he actually got let go 10 years ago, and we were just saying, and he was my boss here, and I said, well, what's your biggest reflection in 10 years? And he said, you know, looking back, how much you're ego driven in the radio industry, especially as like a big boss. And I was like, yeah, I wish more people knew how much their identity and ego is so wrapped up in your job. Because that for me has been the biggest thing. And I said to him, like, I grieved that former self of mine so much. Because I'm not going to lie, I fucking loved people recognizing me in the street. Like on days that I wasn't anxious.
Yeah.
On days that I wasn't experiencing my anxiety. I was like, fuck yeah, I can get into that club. I can do this. I can, do you know what I mean? Like there's this, it is probably all ego but like that you were someone, do you know what I mean? And that's what me and Craig were just talking about, my old boss. It's like
that external validation of self-worth. And it's like
overnight,
you see my worth, and you know, I know you've spoken earlier, not earlier, but you've spoken on your social media around how you used to play out your self-worth when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know, drugs, partying, all the things, right? And this is so common. And then we step into like a career-driven sort of mode.
Yeah.
And we start seeking the worth elsewhere, and we think it's better because we're not doing the bad stuff, but essentially we're still not going through and embodying our self-worth.
Yeah. And I probably didn't really see that until my own self-reflection. And that's why I was interested in what his journey was like. Because for me, is by far the best thing I ever did is leave. However, it was devastating. Yeah. And I had so much grief. And like you said, like that person was dying that you once were, and you're not sure if you're ready to let go of them, but you want to let go of them. So I think for me that sneaks in sometimes. Like I sometimes have to kill off that, like question myself, are you doing this for validation? Or are you doing it for yourself and self-improvement and for your joy and everything? Because that definitely comes in. And I think just speaking, like I said, to my old boss, I was very results-driven in my job as a radio presenter. And so that now coming into PR, that's where I've found it hard to let go. Like with clients like you, I want the fucking results so bad. And so that for me is like a mindset thing. And I think, you know, like I said to him, that's where you've got to kind of let go of that old person as well, because they're there. And like it you know, working in the industry for over 10 years as a breakfast radio host, there's a lot of shit that, you know, and a lot of pressure and validation. And I wish that I was the person now and I could sit behind a radio desk now with a team or whatever, because it would just be such a different experience. But I would never want to go back to that. So it's kind of like this, I do, but I like just to experience what it would be like as the person that I am now. Yeah,
that's massive. I can relate to it a lot. When I first started working in, which is such a like random thing to be working in, but like the shipping container industry.
Yeah.
On reception that I built, like, and then they were like, oh, you sound good on the phone. Do you want to try selling these side businesses that we've got, which is water tanks?
I love that.
Brumby water tanks. And I sold them to like farmers across Australia, and there was a government rebate at the time, so I fucking killed it. And I made a lot of money from these water tanks. And I started getting bonus, and they're like, well, do you want to come into the bigger business, the shipping containers? And I'm like, I had to Google what one was before I started. I had no fucking idea what I was doing, right? And I winged it the whole 7 years. Like, I mean, winged it to the end. I had no idea what, like, the measurements and, like, putting a window in a thing. Now I know quite a bit about a shipping container. As you know, we're over here in Perth building a container depot, our third business, which is really amazing. And so I do know a lot now. But when I left that industry, probably sales is probably where the results driven part of it was, right?
Yeah.
Because I liked big numbers. I liked making money. That is why I left school, because I liked money.
Yeah,
I
I
wanted
love
money.
that.
That's all I valued, right? And I tied my worth into that a lot as well. Being results driven meant that I was successful, which meant that I was worthy, because if I couldn't get my worth elsewhere from external validation, I had to seek it within my career.
Yeah.
So those results meant I'm good enough. And that can be so disempowering.
Yeah.
When you're a young adult in your 20s, going through all the things that we go through, going through all the emotional changes, the physical changes as our bodies shift for fucking parenthood and all the things that we go through as well. Then you're trying to fall in love. Then you want to get married. Then you want to have a house, but you want to do this and you want to travel. Like, there's so much that we experience in our 20s.
Yeah.
And then to be grieving the version and the identity piece, like, I feel like I grieved her, the version of myself that was successful. And that's why when I came into motherhood, I left the business, had 6 weeks off, had a baby. I was like, I'm not going back. I don't want to do it anymore, which I don't, and I didn't. This was always where I was supposed to be, right? But I was grieving the identity of myself. I wore that mask for a long time. That was tied to my worth.
Do you reckon, like, because I mean, your experience was after your child as well, like having that realization, and mine too. And what I noticed is so many women, like, they have their child and they're like, I'm not going back to that. Like, is it that it takes us having children, like, to have this, and it's like to realize the worthiness and all this shit. It's like, and obviously, you know, some people can't have kids, or they struggle to have kids, or they choose not to. But for me, I saw so many women have this exact same experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does it take us to have a kid to, like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
To start unmasking.
Absolutely. And I think it's also comes back to, like, when we go through having a child, it's like, oh no, I can do anything. That's right. I forgot who I was for a second.
Yeah. So it's a remembering, do you reckon?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Also tied to, like, inner child knowing and belief system of being like that little girl who knew what she wanted, and she'd get up and sing on the stage and not worry what people think. And it's like, from my experience in labor, when you are giving birth and there's 20 people looking around you at your body parts, you kind of realize nothing matters. You kind of realize it's not that serious. Like, life and the things that we've put so much credit to being our worth and tied so much of our success to our worthiness. It's like, this is kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
Where I can love myself, but having a child gave me that permission slip.
Yes. I love that.
But it did mean I wanted to stay with him all the time, as you know. Stay-at-home mum gig was not for me. It is for some people. Go live your life. I love that for you, but not for me. I want to work. I enjoy work. This is what brings me joy. So I had to go through the unlearning process, and you've probably gone through the similar thing where it's like, oh, I can be successful, like with all we'll dive into that in a moment, the health stuff that you've gone through. I can be successful and convicted in who I am, but it doesn't mean that I have to be getting results all the time to be that, right? There's duality. I can hold both at the same time.
Yeah, and I reckon, like, this whole past year has been duality for me. Like, my dad, as you know, has dementia, Lewy body dementia, and so grieving someone, but then also finding so much joy in what I do and the people that I work with and the shows that I do. And I think that's where people, if they don't find that duality, that's where it's fucking hard. Like, I'm like, there's days where I'm devastated and grieving and sad and, you know, all of the things. And then there's other days that I'm like, this is the best fucking life I've got.
1000%. I love that. I love that so much, Hides. So take us through the last 12 months. What's that looked like for you?
Yeah. So I think it is there, like, it's really hard watching someone. Like, I think they call it like the slow goodbye or whatever, the long goodbye or whatever, but it really is, because you and I have done a lot of work. Like, this is what this whole podcast is all about, right? Inside out. So it's this strange experience, because I've obviously had stuff where I'm like grieving my dad, and he was a bit of an asshole growing up, and he was an alcoholic, and he was abusive at times. Like, you know, he was angry and all these things. And then now he's so soft. And so I'm having this experience of, you know, the work that I've done on myself, where I've had to heal and forgive and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, where was that man when I was like a little girl?
It's mourning the idea of him as well.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, he's there. Like, this soft person is there. And, you know, he's had his own shit. His mum took her own life when he was 2. And so I now understand also, like, I have this, it's like we've kind of changed roles. I'm now nurturing and mothering him. And he's now what feels like sometimes my child. Do you know what I mean? And we're having this, it's really special, but it's also really strange.
Yeah, got it.
And then, like, you're grieving this person as well, because, like I said, he's not the person that I knew him to be. and he's kinder and he's softer and he's got more heart. And, you know, like I feel his heart, but he also feels people's hearts. So it's been a really strange journey. And I think for me, the best thing about it is I've never realized how much all these feelings that I have inside, you know, like I think you really start to, and like I said, through the work that I've done and the healing journey, I have moments of darkness and sadness. And then I also have the best time of my fucking life through all of the things, awesome stuff that I'm doing, like building shit shows and working with people like yourself and traveling and keynote talking on stage. And then I also have this part of my life that's just weird. Like, you know, you wait for this moment, like when, you know, you're younger and you see your grandparents pass away or whatever, and then you think, oh shit, I never thought it was going to be like this. So it is a very strange experience, like watching someone slowly lose themselves in front of you, but also you're doing the work. So like I said, it's just a ride.
Yeah, someone really, really close to me, we lost 12 months ago, and he was also experiencing signs of dementia. I can't remember specifically what the label was.
Yeah,
on
there's
it.
so many
different like terminologies that we could use, but there were a lot of signs there, and it was probably since I've known him, to be honest. But I had this experience of knowing this incredible man. Like it's so weird because I feel him so frequently. I notice little things, little signs. It's like, hey, what are you doing here? Like there's so much of that present. We were in the car after we went for lunch the other day, and I was telling you about him. Yeah. And then next minute, this sign came forward, and I was like, Heidi, what do you mean? Like this happens all the time. This is so cool. Yeah. And I think within that, you get to start to honor your relationship, and this is what I really noticed about the people in our lives that were noticing the changes within this person is they started honoring their relationship in the present. Yes. And just being there and just tuning into conversations and asking questions and smiling and laughing, and there's peace in the presence. That makes sense.
You're making me emotional.
Yeah, there's peace in presence, and that's what the people in our life kind of started to notice in my life, and I can say that, you know, it's just so important to honor yourself through all of these feelings, up, down, big or small, whatever it looks like. I loved that you shared on social media actually about going and doing recording your dad's life, was it? Yeah, his journey.
Well, so
tell me about that.
Funny, Heath, who was on the radio with me in Newcastle, that's what he does now. He was like a funny comedian, but now he records people's life stories. And so it was huge for both him and I as our friendship from, you know, all those years ago working in breakfast radio together. And I'll never, ever forget that day, Chris. Like, it was the most fucking precious. Like, I wish I could bottle that day up because my dad, I just sat there and I just listened to him share his life story. And there was times where it was hard to, you know, to remember like parts of his story, but I was there to hold his hand, and my mum sat there. And I've never experienced such presence like that. And like I said, I just want to bottle that moment up forever. Yeah. And Heath, obviously, he recorded it. And then we recorded Mum and Dad's love story. And, you know, because now they've been together a very long time. It's companionship. It's companionship. And, you know, and then watching my mum go through this journey as well. Yep. So that was a really special thing, and I would highly suggest anyone do it. Don't wait. Like, honestly, don't fucking wait until it's too late. Like, for me, it was invaluable. Like, what we, you know, paying Heath to do it, I was like, mate, because he's like, I'll do you a discount. I'm like, no, this is fucking, I would pay over and over again for this. Invaluable. Because I said, for Memphis, he's going to have this now that he can, and the crazy thing is when you're in it, like I said, it was that presence, that real presence of like love and laughter and reflection and hearing my dad's story. And I'm like, I get to give that to my son. And then I get to keep that, you know, when my dad does eventually, which it's really hard to say that, but when he does lose himself, I have that memory. And so does my mum. And like I said, just being able to choose that, a lot of people, they don't want to, they're too scared. They're like, and Dad was so scared. Yeah. But I was like, we got to do this. Yeah, we got to do this. So, tissues.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
Didn't think you were going to make me cry today.
I didn't know that I was. I'm sorry.
No, it's good though. It's good. It's good. It's feelings. But I think it really is something that everyone, and like you said, that presence that you have and the laughter. And I think that's what you've got to, because watching someone go through, it's like having a toddler. I said to Mum, it's kind of like she's got to be on all the time for Dad.
Yeah.
And I said to Mum, imagine if we just let some of it go. Like, and we just, and because, you know, she'll try and laugh, but sometimes I'll get really like, no, but we shouldn't laugh at that. You know, like he put onions on his Weet Bix the other day. And, you know, it's just little things like that. But then he's so sound. Like you'll go for lunch and you can talk about his past or whatever, but it's just these little day-to-day things that's so wild. Like watching it, it's so wild. But, yeah, you saying like finding the laughter and the joy in those little moments, like honestly, I wish more people would share that. And and like I said, I highly recommend for everyone to get a life story. Like even I said, can I do mine?
Yeah,
I'm
well,
only 40,
I've got like when you've shared that on social media, I was like, fuck, I'm lucky I've got the podcast. Not lucky, but like God forbid anything ever happened to me. My babies will never forget my voice. Like my voice is it's here.
Yeah, it's here, and it's
like
they can download it on Spotify or Apple.
Find me on YouTube.
But you do. I think you. And this is the thing, I think, going through this, and this is probably heavy for a lot of people. I've fucking been scared of death for a very long time. Like, I'm anxious as fuck, right? And most of my anxiety came from death. And so now when you're facing it head on with someone so close, and then you get to this age where I'm 41 now, so I've got friends, one of my friends passed away just the other day. You really start to go like, fuck.
Things can change pretty quickly.
Like that. And so that's why for me, it's like, I just want to live. You know, I was driving here and I'm like, oh, my nose is a bit red and blah, blah. And then I'm like, who gives a fuck?
No one cares.
Like, no one cares. And like, you shouldn't, like, that's the thing. You get so caught up in the tiny little things. And I think going through this with my dad, that's where I'm not so like caught up now. Yeah. Even with him, like if I'm like, oh, you're not so annoying anymore. Or like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You, like you said, you just live in the moment. Yeah.
I did the International Women's Day event last year, as you know, and at the start, my sort of speaking component to it and what tied it in and why there was so much meaning for it behind creating the event and supporting Jenny's Place, which is a local refuge for Newcastle, children and families in crisis, and women and children in crisis. And my original speaking piece was what tied everything together, and my why and my purpose for driving the event was my grandmother, who had a really hard life. She had a horrific, hard life. Everything was just not given to her very kindly or easily. And she got breast cancer, fought the first round, I believe, from memory, and then she went and got her L's for the first time. I think she was 71. She got her L's. She bought her first car.
What a legend.
She'd been in housing commission for the majority of her life and got her first car, and then she died. And the grief that I went through, and what you just said earlier about the storytelling piece, I grieved her, and I still do. Like, I think about her often because of how hard things were for her and how grateful I am that things weren't like that for me. And I think my mum really helped me not have that life.
Because she led that way.
It was my dad's mum, but it was my dad's side of the family. But I don't have her voice. We're in 2025 and I'll never hear her voice again. There's no video that I can listen to. There's no nothing, a recording of her. I see photos and I hear it. Yeah. And I've heard her in my dreams, but I'll never, goosebumps. But what you just said there about what you've just created for the legacy for your son and how important that is for us to leave our loved ones with the memories of what we can, which is our laughter, our smile, our voice. It's all so important because if I could listen to her every day, I would.
Right. And like, I think this is the thing, because hubby and I spoke about it, because some people are like, oh, I would never do that. And I'm like, it's not about you. Sorry, it's not about you. You'll be dead. So, and this is what we were saying. We're like, you'll be dead. So
you'll
like,
be dead.
Like, it's not about, we don't care if you don't like your voice, the sound of your own voice. We do. We fucking, like your voice, calmed me when I was here, or do you know what I mean? Like Memphis and my dad have the most beautiful relationship. And, because when you become grandparents, as my mum and dad said, like they don't have that, worry or stress about work and everything. So he is, so for Memphis to be able to have that, he's going to be able to, when he reflects when he's older, be able to go back to a place where like he can feel my dad through his voice and through his storytelling. And that's what me and Griff were like, it's 2025. Like you got the record it yourself. Like you should have these things now. Yeah. Like we got so passionate about it, but yes, highly invaluable. And I mean, valuable, not invaluable. What am I saying? Highly invaluable.
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 Yeah, it's
I didn't
highly
think about
valuable, but it's invaluable.
Yes. Love that. Well, thank you for sharing that piece of your life right now and, you know, your journey with your family. I know that's really hard to talk about, and I appreciate that you've shared it in this space, because I know that there's at least one listener that's in it or been through it, and they'll be able to relate to you where you're at, you know what I mean? And that's why I do what I do. That's why
I love it.
I record these conversations, because there's always something in here that's just going to give someone that love that they need right now.
And life is hard. And like, I don't mean that in like a negative way, but like when you realize that we're all going through shit, that every day that it's like I said, like it makes me want to live more. And so to hear other people, it's like it might not be dementia or it might not be this, but like we're all going through something. And so I think, it's important, these conversations.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, my next question changes the topic a little bit.
Oh, okay. Bring it. Am I getting undressed now?
No.
Joke.
You totally would. That's just the funny part. You'd be like, okay.
And walk downstairs and
dare
prank
you.
the guys at this where we're recording.
You have walked through a shopping centre in your fucking underwear.
Yes.
What is something you're still too scared to reveal?
About myself?
Whatever you like. Where does that take you, that question?
Well, because this is the thing. I think people think because I've got down into my bra and undies in public, which took a lot of fucking work to do that with my mindset and everything, is that I am super, and, you know, I talk about sex. Me and hubby had a podcast. Like, they think that then I mustn't have any secrets. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I know you've got so many. Like, there's so much you don't know. And so then I'm like, I think for me,
What am I scared to say today?
what am I scared to say today? Because like I am quite open in my dialogue. However, I think there's things that I'm ashamed of, and there's things that, and I think for me, the biggest thing for me was, I think probably the hardest thing that, and I don't know if I'm scared to say it because I have spoke about it before, but when I first started working in radio, a girl appeared that I went to high school with, and she was like, "Is that why you're a bully at school?" when she started saying stuff on my Instagram. And I remember feeling like intense shame, because I am a girl's girl. I am now, like I wasn't probably back then. And there was times that I was mean to people. And, you know, one of my girlfriends said the other day, like, Heidi, it used to be mean. You're in year 7, you used to be mean to the year 12 girls. Like, you had no fear. And I'm like, well, no, I think it was just that before they could be mean to me, I was like, I'm going to fucking, so I'll prove to them that I'm like, and so I look back and I go, that's a little girl who is like, I'm in control. No one's going to fuck with me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like and so I think I'm always scared to talk about that, because bullying is such a big thing.
It is.
Now I know that I wasn't this cunty person all the time, but I definitely had mean girl behavior, and I went to an all girls school. Now that's no excuse, but like it was, so that sometimes makes me feel like, oh, I'd said that. And so I think because it's so not the person that I am today, and like I am 41 and I've been through it, but she actually reappeared again 2 years ago. So this was maybe 10 years ago when I was working in breakfast radio, and she reappeared. She was in my school year. And the crazy thing is, me and her never had beef.
Okay.
But in her reflection, she did. Okay. And her perspective. And so I again felt that intense shame and embarrassment, but I just called her out and said, like, do you want to get on a call? Like, let's fucking squash this so I can apologize. We can like move on. I can help you heal if that's what you want, instead of just like throwing nasty shit at me. So that's something that I don't really talk about, because it's kind of scares me that.
What do you think it means about you?
This is the thing. So I think it's like, I think for me, this reflection piece is that people will then think, oh, she's not that nice girl. Oh, she's not that woman supporting women. Like, do you know what I mean? And then I go, yeah, I've had all those thoughts too. Yeah. And I know, but then I have to go like, well, I wasn't perfect, and I have done a lot of work on myself, but it is that part which I think for a lot of people, why we don't put ourselves out there, right? We're worried about what people think. So for me, saying that, it's like, oh, are they then going to change their mind about me?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I recently had an instance where, and I actually forgot that it happened, which isn't probably a good thing, but I had forgotten that it happened, and you've just reminded me now, where a girl who was a couple of years older than me went to my high school, and I've bumped into her, and I was like I saw her from a distance, and I sort of smiled. I'm like, you know my face. She follows me. I know she follows me, right? I didn't have too much to do with her. She was an older sibling of a friend in my class. And I was like, I said hey, and she was sort of a bit distant, not disconnected, but distant in the hey and the hello. I was like, how are you? She's like, yeah, good. And just like walked away. I'm like, cool, no problems. Like, we weren't friends. It's fine. I was just being polite. And then someone said to her, someone said my name to her, and she's like, oh, I know her. How do you know her? And I was like, hold up. You don't know me. A, like this is 15 years ago.
Yeah.
B, was like, have I done something that I don't recall? And this is the thing. In the unconscious, we will delete, distort, and generalize.
Yeah.
Right? Every bit of data that we receive. So consciously, in our NLP, we believe that consciously we receive 134 bits per second. Unconsciously, it is 2 billion.
Wow.
So we don't know what we don't know. And we don't know what we've deleted, distorted, or generalized.
Yes. Yeah.
I've recently reconnected with someone that I was absolutely inseparable with in high school. She'll probably listen to the podcast. So hi.
Hi.
We've reconnected, and it's been really nice, and we're reflecting a lot. And we weren't very nice people. And I can admit that. I can admit that we also probably hated ourselves, and we can admit that.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been saying. Like, fuck, we weren't very nice to be around because we didn't love ourselves.
Yeah.
And how interesting it is when, like I said to her literally in a voice note this morning, I was like, I forgot that person existed. And she's like, I did too. How crazy. And then I was sharing that the unconscious mind would delete, distort, and generalize. She's like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things coming up right now when you're sharing a story. I'm like, oh my God, this person was there. I forgot about them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's so crazy that that's our reference for things when they probably had a completely different perspective, right?
And a
that
whole different experience.
That's right. And like, I am a girl's girl, I'd say now. I empower women for a fucking living. This is why I do what I do.
So there is this but then I'm like, would I be this empowering person if I didn't go through? And like I said, there's not many things I regret. I regret my behavior as a teenager of how I treated people. That's something that I definitely can't undo. And I wish I did, because I'm like, oh, someone sat in a fucking therapy chair because of me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like so that's the stuff that keeps me up at night. Not probably the now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like sometimes if there's that stuff that I reflect, because I know that I'm a good person, but then if you do the work, then you've got to love all parts of yourself too, don't you?
That's right.
And so that's probably still work for me. Because I still carry that, like that is a darkness, that is like, it still hurts. And then I think also as you become a parent, like, fuck, Memphis, I don't want him to think, like, that's what when she reappeared, and like, I don't know if you felt the same, like, but I said to Griffo, oh my God, like, I'm like, what if my son ever found this out? Like, I literally felt so embarrassed.
Yeah, I can,
and I'm like,
I can relate.
He won't see me. And Griffo's like, mate, he's going to see you in many different lights when he's older.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be the perfect mum. And like Griffo just brings it back to reality. He's like, you're not going to be the perfect mum. You're not the perfect mum now.
Yes.
And I'm like,
love.
Oh, okay. And I think that is part of the work that I still do, is like there's a perfectionism that plays out.
For sure.
You know, I don't think, and I think that comes with the ADHD, if you want to put it as that label. Sometimes I'm like, just put me in that label for everyone to understand me. And the meds have helped. However, I do believe a lot in, you know, trauma and everything that plays out with a lot of the symptoms that we get with ADHD.
Yeah, 100%. I think a big part of it for me was it wasn't necessarily that I'm ashamed of of how I treat other people. It's more, I'm so ashamed of how I treated myself. I'm so ashamed, and you know, that's still things that I'm working through.
Yes.
Because shame isn't something that I choose to carry often, but in terms of my teenage years and the decisions I made and the people I called into my life and how that impacted my loved ones, how that impacted the story that became of who I was and what I created. In terms of relationships with my family and things like that, and the dramas and all the chaos, and fuck me, I was a chaotic mess. Yeah. But, you know, it got me here. So there's the element where I go, and if I didn't do all that, would I have this? You know what I mean? Like, would I know who I am now? Would I have done the work, or would I have just stayed in surface level? Happy as Larry, go through my little white picket fence life. Like, would I have just settled for everything and continued settling for things? But that gave me the fight, you know? Do you feel like it gave you the fight as well?
100%. And like, this is what I'm saying. It's not necessarily that I regret the things. It's more just like the behavior of treating other people that I regret. And like I always say, like, I wouldn't change my partying days in London where I was taking copious amounts of drugs and sleeping with boys and like treating myself like absolute shit. And, you know, all of the things that I don't regret regret that because like you, I do believe I wouldn't be sitting here and sharing my story.
Yeah, and your story has empowered other people.
Yeah.
And has created businesses. And like let's dive into that topic for a moment, because I do want to talk to you about PR, which you've been doing with me for a little while now, which has been epic. Seen so many incredible things happen in my business, in just personal brand, all the things. It's been so much fun, like, to know that it sounds so silly, but a part of me is like, oh no, this is where I'm meant to be. Yeah. Like, it solidifies where I thought I was meant to go.
Yeah, the alignment.
And I'm like, oh cool, that's the next step. That's the next step. So that's been feeling really great. That's awesome. What's one thing women think is PR, but it's actually just performative fluff?
That's a good question. Performative fluff.
Like the BS that you can see going on in the PR space.
Well, I think too, like, why people get scared of PR, because there's the whole, like, it's for politicians, it's for celebrities, it's for when there's crisis, like when there's something going wrong. And then I also think that with TV, which we've had awesome work with you getting on TV, sometimes it can be quite quick. Do you know what I mean? And it's 5 fucking minutes. Well, you were lucky you got 5 minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's like 2 to 3 minutes. And so when you have a big mission like yours, I think sometimes that's when it's like TV can be a bit performative and like bang, bang, bang. And so I think some people then go like, oh, I don't know if that's for me.
And something you said to me was, I need you to dumb it down.
Yeah.
So
like play the basic 101
That's
shit.
not to say that anyone that doesn't know or listen or felt something when I've done those segments, that doesn't mean that you're dumb. That's not what we're saying. Just saying dumbing the language down specifically around what I'm saying, because sometimes I'll go off on a fucking tangent and it might not relate to someone, and TV is really to be relatable. That was shocking to me.
Yeah, and really quick. Yeah. Really quick. And so obviously coming from breakfast radio, I obviously know how to tell a story within 3 minutes. And, it's like now you get me on podcasts. I'm like fucking 10 minutes for one story. Yeah. But, so that's the craft that I learned. And so with yourself, right, it's like you think about those books when computers came out. I was like computer knowledge 101 for dummies. That's how you got to be when you go into the space of TV or radio. And so I think sometimes that where people are like, oh, I don't want to be part of that. That's like performative. And it's like, no, use that for your street cred, which is like, so going on TV, you're probably not, people aren't going to get the best of you in like when they listen to this podcast. They get all of you. You can go off on your NLP tangents or your own experience and all that kind of stuff. But you got to be just direct, straight. And like you said, I always just say like basic 101.
Yeah.
Because most people that you're speaking to that are watching the TV morning shows, not saying they're dumb, but like that's just basic stuff. They haven't done the work that you want, with the step parenting stuff that we put you on TV with. Like, it's got to be quick because you got to get straight to the point, and they need to have it in the most simple terms so that they can go like, oh, okay, I get it. I relate to her. I see her. And then we share the shit out of it on all of your platforms. And then your people are like, oh, street cred. Oh my God. But so I think a lot of people don't want to play that game. And for me, I'm like, that's fucking like, you think I remember people would ring up the radio station and they would get on air, and then their friends would be like, oh my God, you're so famous. You're on Heidi Will and Woody or Heidi, whatever the show was. Yeah. And, growing up in Newcastle was probably like that too.
The 10 questions?
The Alpha Bucks or whatever it was, like the pop quizzes or whatever. And so people, it's this, so there's a whole psychology behind it. And so I guess what I love to empower people about with the PR side is play the game. Like the biopsychology is real and it's always going to be there. So cool. Don't get on TV when you want to fucking change the world with the biggest mission for you. Like get your podcast going like you have, but then use that to, on your own platforms and leverage, which is like what I am super passionate about. Because if you got on TV tomorrow for my book, like I got on TV for my book, I didn't fucking sell any copies like from TV. Do you know what I mean? Like most people, but that moment when I got the photos and then I posted afterwards, sold all my books through my own Instagram and my own following and my own platforms. Yes. So I think that's where there's not enough information about leveraging. And so people don't want to play the game because it's like, oh, it's performative, blah, 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 all that shit.
And I think that a lot of people, especially going into business on social and they're selling on social media, there is a perfectionist, like, okay, aesthetically, if you want it to look a certain way, no problem. There's a perfectionist piece of like, I don't know what to post, so I won't post anything. Yeah. Or it's too hard, or I don't know what to say. And rather than just saying what needs to be said of,
Yeah.
I went on this and I did this.
Yeah.
Here's my book if you want it.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it so like pristine and
Yeah.
perfect. And that's something that you've really pushed onto me and has been supporting me a lot, because I have gone through, if you go through my fucking Instagram and you scroll back down, I started pink. I went to black. I went to neutral. I went back to pink. I went to green. I went to the, I have had that many aesthetic phases, but I needed it to look a certain way, the squares, because other people or other professionals in the space that I had spoken to were embodying this and teaching this. And I was like, okay, so no one's going to click on my page. No one's going to hit follow if it's not pretty. But that's not why people are using social media right now. So leveraging from social media is about capturing the person to make them feel seen, make them feel like you're relating to them, nurturing that follower, getting that person to feel like they want to work with you, right? Like they don't need you, but they choose to want to. So there's that difference as well.
Yeah, and I think, like I said to you, like take them on the journey. And I think we all forget to do this. It's so fucking simple. Like today, me coming out on the road, like it's one of my favorite things to do, because I'll listen to music, I'll call people, come record here. But like record that, share that with people. Like, do you know what I mean? I think we get so caught up. And it was the same with you when you were going to the TV studio. I'm like, get the behind the scenes. Like, do you know what I mean? Take everyone on the journey.
Yeah, I love it.
And then I think with you as well, with the step parenting stuff, which I loved when we did the stepmom stuff, it was like, you can share it this way, you can share it this way, you can share it that way. But I think we forget that and we think, oh, it's just one and done. And it's like, no, like you could keep leveraging this for fucking years.
Yeah.
Your TV morning show like could go on for years.
Heidi's like, I've done a content schedule.
Just like let me go chat to ChatGPT afterwards. Like it's that fucking simple.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, can you do this
overcomplicate
for
it.
Chris? Blah blah blah. But I think we overcomplicate it.
Yeah. And we're living in 2025, guys.
Yeah, 2025.
ChatGPT 5.0. Can I just say, just completely off topic for everyone, but I need to share it so everyone knows. I don't know if anyone listening counts macros. I'm currently on day 3 of counting macros again, because it just helps me stay in a deficit, know what I'm eating, because otherwise I'll eat to the cows. Like I'll just eat until I can't eat anymore. That's just what I do in life. I took a photo, and I know there's apps coming out about this right now, but I didn't know Chat did it. I just took a photo, said it was, I said, give me the grams and like estimates of calories. It was just a photo of like
Just a photo.
Asian dish I had yesterday. I was like, oh, that's all.
So all these
Cool. And
apps
then
are going to go out.
And I just put it into my fitness pal, and that was that. Just life hack for everyone. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
But I was saying to hubby yesterday, I was like, you know, we've been talking about coaching him and doing all these things. And I said, babe, like use fucking chat. I call it Chat GBT. Like, fuck, I don't know why, but like that's my brain. Chat
G.
I can't say it. GPT.
Got it.
But I said,
just call it chat.
But yeah, just chat.
Yeah,
So, but I said to him, like, you could coach yourself. Now, that's not taking coaches out. But I said, so for him, he doesn't always speak what's going on in his brain. And I said, just fucking brain dump to chat. Like, I said, you're laying there sometimes when you've pissed me off so much at the end of the night. And I'm like, my husband did this. And then it just gives you this reflection.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. Like, more accountability, Heidi. More this. And I said to him, maybe you just need to brain dump to chat.
Yes, love that.
Like,
fuck yeah, that's a great idea. And the other thing is that Steve told me about chat, my husband Steve. One of the things yonks ago, which really, really helped me with it, was talk to it like it's your friend. Yeah. So it can get to know you. So, hey, I'm not really good at talking and I'm feeling really vulnerable sharing this shit. I don't know where to start. I don't want to pay a coach. I don't want to talk to anyone else. Yeah. Can you give me some like micro habits to support the macro goal of me feeling better? Like ask him to ask it that and just like talk through. Like
it's so, I mean, it's so smart. So smart.
It's going to take over the world, but I don't care because I like it.
I know. Well, this is what I said to hubby. I go, it's coming for you. Yeah. Like you need to know. I said, and he goes, no, it won't ever take my job. I'm like, it fucking will, mate. I go, like, you're a boss. You're an operation. He's like an electrician, but head of the operations and looks after all the. I said, you will eventually be, because someone will have a ChatGPT assistant that does your job. So I said, you fucking may as well start to learn it now. This is what I talk to it all the time.
Yeah, I think however, just to polarize that for a second, I think for people in our space though, while someone could potentially go and take our jobs, people also want to be influenced by real people. You don't want that
100%.
influence.
We will never
connection. We're in a role where we need connection to thrive and survive.
Yeah,
and that's what our clients need as well.
100%. And this is what I said to him. I go, if you're not doing the work and consciously aware, I can see how you would get dependent on it and could help with your loneliness when you're feeling lonely at the time. Like one of my clients talks into loneliness all the time. So I said I can see the negative, but I said it's about, again, like choice, boundaries, all of the things that you do with humans anyway. Like you got to remember that with online stuff. But I said to hubby, it's changed my life. For someone who had learning difficulties, who's probably only just seeing that now going into business, how my brain sometimes really overcomplicates shit and makes it really hard for myself and everyone else.
Yes.
It has been an absolute fucking game changer.
God, it's helpful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We I said, hey, this is a photo of my son and daughter. We were just going up the pub with family friends for my daughter's 5th birthday. Nothing crazy. I'm like, can you create colouring in for them? I want 10 different pages for all the kids of Jessie and Lola. And it come back with just mini Jessie and Lola cartoon characters. And everyone got colouring in of Jessie and Lola.
Oh my God, that's so good. I'm going to do that with Memphis.
So the kids love creating their characters and writing stories in chat. So Steve will talk them through like, who do you want your characters to be? And Jessie will say some stupid name like Wizardtard or something. And like Wizardtard has brown hair with like yellow eyes or whatever. And he'll create this little fictional character and then he'll write a book and then he's got his book and it's a cute thing to do with the kids as well to get them involved.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Life hacks, people, with Chris and Heidi.
Also, I'm like, they could totally sponsor this podcast, but they don't. Like, can you imagine? They just are like, everyone's talking about us.
Yeah.
Like that is like when you create something so good, you don't even need to PR it. Like, it's literally people PR it for you.
Yeah, literally.
On a podcast
Literally,
here in Australia.
Literally. I love it. I want to know if you could get every woman in business to do one thing differently with their visibility tomorrow, what would that be?
Fucking PR.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be part of your marketing plan and it should have been yesterday. That's what I always say to everyone. And
I love this.
And it doesn't have to be, and when I teach people PR, like my PR days are in my new program, just a slight little plug there.
Love it.
I teach people that it gets to be really simple and there's different levels. So for yourself, when you came in and you're doing done for you, it's like, cool, she's doing done for you. We're going to fucking hit everywhere. You know, so I'm talking TV, radio, podcasts, written articles, online publications. But when you really start to think about PR, it could just be on social media with a collaboration with someone. Like, do you know what I mean? And so that's the stuff that I always teach, like public relations, relationships in the public. And then it's connection, which is everyone's a human. So wherever you're pitching, there's a human on the other side. Don't stress and be like, oh, I'm not good enough. They're a person that you're just talking to on the other side. And then it's like thinking outside the box. So how can they notice you? And I like to make it feel really simple. Like when you think about it like that it's just relationships in the public. I just have to connect and I just have to think a little bit differently outside the box to get their attention. It can be so easy, but I think we put it in a really hard category and like, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not newsworthy, like, oh, my stuff's not getting, like maybe my stuff's not getting, you know, traction online. That doesn't mean that you're not ready to be an authority in the space. Like, and so I think for me, it's like just thinking about it in the different levels. So like I said, I like to think like start with social media. If you haven't told your story there, then, you know, are you ready to tell it on TV?
Yeah.
Are you ready? You know, start with there, start on, you know, doing a live or even writing it on email. If you feel like you're more of a writer, send it to your email list, but share your story. And everyone has a fucking story. If you say that you don't, like that's BS. So I think you can start moving today on your PR, and I think like getting visible. So yeah, start with. And I think my strength is angles and ideas, like because coming from breakfast radio, I had to think about 50 every day, right? So I'll see a story or something in someone, and your story doesn't have to be sad either, or like tragic, or you know, like for me, I'm going through a lot right now. I had my dad, my anxiety story was huge, like, but it doesn't have to be that either.
Yeah.
It can be a super different, empowering story, like that you could share, and it could just be. I don't know, I can't think of the top of my head, but like with your step parenting stuff, do you know what I mean? Like there's just, we're not sharing too much of your story because it's personal and there's stuff you want to keep private. And then there's you as like the expert that we can position you as. So I think people think that they've got to hang out all their laundry as well. Like,
and
you know, all the
projecting
dirty
shit.
laundry. And where it's like, it can actually be really simple. So just bloody start and start yesterday.
I love it. Love that. I actually want to note that mantra down. Say it one more time.
Which one?
About if you don't have marketing.
Oh yeah, so PR should have been part of your marketing yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. I love that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I have to go back and.
I need it like written down somewhere.
I'll send it to you after here.
Okay, so I've got about 1,400 other questions, but I'm going to close out our interview today, and I feel like we're going to do part 2, but that can come later because another little thought-provoking one might hit a bit heavy, but. if Memphis listens to this interview one day when he's grown, what do you hope he hears in your voice?
I hope that he hears life. Like, I hope that he knows that his mum lived her fucking life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that, you know, because you don't really know when your last day is, right? And we've been talking about this a lot in our house lately. And I want him to just hear that, like, we're living, that I'm doing my best, that I love him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but he feels that through the stories, through the laughter, through the fun, through the realness, that that we're just alive and living. And that's what I just hope that he, you know, always cherishes with him, like, you know, and takes that with him always.
That's absolutely beautiful. And I can relate. That made me teary because I can relate to that so deeply. Being a mum, it just changes you, changes how you perceive the world. How you perceive the world, how you perceive your future, and what you want for everyone in your life. Like, and I think you do breathe life, Hides. Like, you are so full of energy to be around, to talk to. Like, when I get off our one-on-one calls, sometimes I'm like, fuck, my clients don't get that energy from me. They never have.
But yours is different. Yours is different. Like, mindset and all that is different. Whereas I'm like, I'm fucking pushing people out there to, like, but that's always been my thing. You know, like, you can't bottle my energy. Like, I wish I could fucking sell it. Like, it's, you know, I wish I could, because it's the one thing. I don't think people hear what I say sometimes. They just fucking take my energy. I could say whatever I want and they're like, oh, it's her, like, it's her energy.
100%. And I'm big on energy and being around people and making sure that when I'm investing any time with any human, I am not drained when I walk away. And that has been really hard in the career that I've chosen to not feel so drained all the time. With clients, in podcast interviews and things like that. Sometimes you don't know, right? And you're like, oh my God, that was more difficult than I anticipated. Not that I can,
because you're having hard conversations.
It's just the heaviness and the weight on them. But your energy and your vibrational frequency just sits fucking pretty high at all times. Even when you were sad, like even when you were crying, I'm like feeding on the energy in a positive way. Like, you bring everything to the table and I fucking love it and I adore you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. For anyone who lives under a rock and doesn't follow you, where do they find you?
You can find me, bitches. No, it's probably because I put a stupid underscore after the @ symbol.
Underscore, silly goose.
So that's probably why they haven't found me yet. So it's @ Heidi Anderson on Instagram. That's probably the best place to find me.
And I'll tag you in all the show notes
I was
and
like,
stuff.
stalk Chris. She'll send you my way. Send her my mobile number. No, just joking.
I'll put the book in the show notes of today's episode as well, so everyone can have a listen to that. I mean, a read of that. Fuck.
Don't worry. I was like, there's someone else coming in. Like, the next guest is here.
Next guest is here.
No, we never hear that on the like all the behind the scenes that you get.
Yeah, I know, right? No one ever knows.
No one ever knows. But like, so someone's just walking up the stairs now,
and so I lost my train
of thought. Us at the end. Like, what is happening? Time's up. But so they'll read it or listen, whatever the fuck. But thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming. Bye, guys.